Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaye Yamudirate Nashtaprayasya Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna to all devotees. Today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, chapter 24, the chanting the song by Lord Shiva, verses 58 to 68. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mati.
Yes, Mati.
Okay. Starting from verse 58. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the cause of all sumptuous things, and the destroyer of the all the contamination of sin. I therefore beg your lordship to bless me by the association of your devotees who are completely purified by worshipping your lotus feet and who are so merciful upon the conditioned souls. I think that your real benediction will be to allow me to associate with such devotees. Text 59. The devotees whose heart has been completely cleansed by the process of devotional service and who is favored by bhakti, Devi does not become bewildered by the external energy, which is just like a dark well. Being completely cleansed of all material contamination in this way, a devotee is able to understand very happily your name, fame, form, activities, etc. Text 60. My dear Lord, the impersonal Brahma spreads everywhere like the sunshine or the sky, and the impersonal Brahma which spreads throughout the universal and in which the entire universal is manifested is you. Text 61. My dear Lord, you have manifold energies, and these energies are manifested in manifold forms. With such energies, you have also created this cosmic manifestation, and although you maintain it as if it were permanent, you ultimately annihilate it. Although you are never disturbed by such changes and alternations, the living entities are disturbed by them, and therefore they find the cosmic manifestation to be different or separated from you. By my Lord, you are always independent, and I can clearly see this fact. Text 62. My dear Lord, your universal form consists of all five elements: the senses, mind, intelligence, false ego, which is material, and the Paramatma, your partial expansion, who is the director of everything. Yogis other than the devotees, namely the Karma Yogis, the Jnani Yogis, worship you by their respective actions in their respective positions. It is stated both in the Vedas and in the Shastras that the corollaries of the Vedas, and indeed everywhere, that it is only you who are to be worshipped. That is the expert version of all the Vedas. Text 63. My dear Lord, you are only supreme person, the cause of all causes. Before the creation of this material world, your material energy remains in a dormant condition. When your material energies agitated, the three qualities, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, act. And as a result, the total material energy, egotism, ether, air, fire, water, earth, and all the virgins, demigods, and saintly persons becomes manifest. Thus the material world is created. Text 64. My dear Lord, after creating by your own potencies, you enter within the creation in four kinds of forms. Being within the hearts of the living entities, you know them and know how they are enjoying their senses. The so-called happiness of this material creation is exactly like the bee's enjoyment of honey after it has been collected in the honeycomb. Text 65. My dear Lord, your absolute authority cannot be directly experienced, but one can guess by seeing the activities of the world that everything is being destroyed in due course of time. The force of time is very strong, and everything is being destroyed by something else, just as one animal is being eaten by another animal. Time scatters everything exactly as the wind scatters clouds in the sky. Text 66. My dear Lord, all living entities within this material world are mad after planning for things, and they are always busy with a desire to do this or that. This is due to uncontrollable greed. The greed for material enjoyment is always existing in the living entity, but your lordship is always alert, and in due course of time, you strike him just as a snake seizes a mouse and very easily swallows him. Text 67. My dear Lord, any learned person knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled. Knowing this, how could he give up worshipping your lotus feet? Even our father and spiritual master, Lord Brahma, unhesitatingly worshipped you, and the 14 Manus followed in the footsteps. Last text for the day is text 68. My dear Lord, all actuality learned persons know you as the Supreme Brahma and the Super Soul. Although the entire universe is afraid of Lord Rudra, who ultimately annihilates everything for the learned devotees, you are the fearless destination of all. Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji, for this Bhagavatam reading service opportunity and your blessings. Jai Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mati. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Himanshu Prabhu, when you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I'm audible, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Trying to share my screen, Prabhuji, but I don't know. The system is very slow today. Just keep...
Okay, sure.
Is my screen visible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity. And thanks to all devotees joining this call. Let me offer a prayer. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। So today we are going to discuss the last section of the Rudra Gita. Rudra Gita started from text 33 of this chapter, and it will end on text 68. And today we are going to talk about text 58 to 68. So we'll just quickly recap the summary of prayers what Lord Shiva has glorified till now. Lord Shiva glorified the Supreme Lord as a for Supreme Lord body, mind, and senses, and also he is a bestower of all benediction. He is a supreme enjoyer, and then he glorified the beauty of the Lord like a dark rainy cloud. His eyes like a lotus petal, then his curly black hair, then his lotus feet like a lotus petal, his merciful smile. And then his garments, a lot of other things, Lord Shiva glorified to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And text 54 to 59, it's talk about the glory of Bhakti and Bhakta. Basically, what is the benefit of association of a pure devotee? Because when one associate, that's what Lord Shiva explaining, when one associate the pure devotee of the Lord, that's where he gets the Lord's real mercy. So now we'll cover today text 58. But in these verses also Lord Shiva explained that time can destroy anything and everything, but it does not approach the devotee, because devotee of the Lord has taken the complete shelter to the lotus feet of the Lord, and devotee is completely fearless, because he know if death will come devour him, it doesn't really impact to him, because he will take another birth. If he is not completely pure, then he will again engage in the service of the Lord. And if he has attained the purity, then he'll go back to Godhead and engage in the service of the Lord. So in both the situation, devotee of the Lord is really interested in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's where his satisfaction is, by satisfying the senses of the Lord. So in text 58, Lord Shiva further explained, if one needs to destroy all the contamination of all the sins and attain all the auspiciousness, one must surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, of the pure devotee. So lotus feet with a pure devotion. So Lord Shiva is saying here, so one needs to back the association of the Lord's pure devotee, because they are completely pure and they are merciful to the conditioned soul. Because Lord's pure devotee are so merciful that they are always trying to shower the mercy. When we get a fraction of association of the pure devotee, our next day chanting, and we will be quite empowered, and then our chanting will be very good next day, and our routine, our all the devotional limbs will be very encouraged, or very empowered. So Prabhupada explained, compare that with the Ganges water, how Ganges water eradicate the sins. While when the people, all sinful people take a bath in the Ganges water, all the reactions will go away and they will free from all the contamination. Because Ganges water is accepted as a pure because it flows directly from touching from the lotus feet of the Lord. And taking the bath in the Ganges water, one can be purified. And if one guard himself for future, committing future mistakes, future sinful mistake, if he guard himself, he can protect himself, then he can be delivered, certainly delivered. And then Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that Srila Vrindavan Thakur has sung the devotee of Lord Chaitanya. He has mentioned that devotee of Lord Chaitanya is so powerful that even one single devotee can deliver the entire universe. That's the glory of the Lord Chaitanya's devotee. So we need to understand the keywords here. Keywords here is Susattva in this word. Susattva means Shuddha Sattva, means attaining the pure goodness. So how one can attain the pure goodness, we need to understand. One can attain the pure goodness by the association or serving the lotus feet of the Lord's pure devotee. Because one, when associate the Lord's pure devotee, conditioned soul can get the blessing and he can come to the platform of Shuddha Sattva. But why Lord Shiva is praying that, we need to understand. Lord Shiva is already a pure devotee of the Lord. He is a Vaishnava Yatha Shambhu. Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu means he is one of the purest devotee, But he is, offering these prayers for benefit of all of us, because he's teaching us the best course of life. What should be the best purpose of life? To take the shelter of to the lotus feet of the Lord, or serving the lotus feet of the devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord. Text 59, again in the same line, glorifying the devotional service. By process of devotional service, one's heart can be completely cleansed, and he will not be bewildered by the Lord external energy, Maya Shakti. So Prabhupada explained in the referring the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, text 25 and verse 25. So it's saying, Shatam prasangan mama virya samvido. So Satam means pure devotee, and virya means wonderful activity and pastime of Lord, and samvido means discussing. And next line is Bhavanti Hrit Krishna Rasayana Katha, which is pleasing. Hrit means heart, Hridaya. Karna means ear, and Katha means, and Bhavanti. Hrit Karna Rasayana. Rasayana means pleasing. So, and one who is intelligent enough, if he discuss he associate with my pure devotee and discuss my glorification, my pastime, my wonderful activity, then his heart, his ear will be pleased. And then Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati means, then the firm faith, Shraddha, Ratir means Ruchi, will develop, and Bhaktir, devotional service. So through the devotional service process, the firm faith will develop, and then next ruchi will come. So all these things will begin. So how? What is the key thing here? With the association of a pure devotee, and while during that association discussing the Krishna Katha, then it will be pleasing to the heart and ear of the devotee. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explained, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Sarte Kaya Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sharva Siddhi Haya. So Lava Matra means a fraction of second, 1/11th of second. So even that fraction of second of us association of a pure devotee, Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sarva Siddhi Haya, that one can attain all purity, one can attain all success. That is a verdict of all revealed scripture. Because being a conditioned soul, our mirror of our heart is completely contaminated, full of dust. But with that association, discussing the Krishna Katha, discussing the holy name of the Lord, discussing the pastime of the Lord, our heart, our cheto darpana marjanam, the cleansing process of our heart will happen with the mercy of the devotee or the mercy of the Lord by the following the regulative principle and devotional limbs. The ruchi will, firm faith will come, anartha nivritti happen, and then nishtha, steadiness will happen, and then we'll attain the pure love. Shuddha sattva, pure love, will attain the pure love of the Lord. That's a last stage. It takes time, takes many births sometime. So Prabhupada has explained that bhakti yoga process must be carried out by avoiding the 10 offenses. Basically, there are 10 offenses of chanting the holy name. There are 64 offenses of deity worship. So if one is very sincerely chanting the holy name under the guidance of the Guru, following the regulative principle, making sure he's not doing any kind of offenses while worshipping or while doing the chanting, then Bhakti Devi will be satisfied. And then Bhakti Devi will take care of us. He'll protect us. It protect our bhakti and the mercy of Guru. So text 60 further talk about, now Lord Shiva, from 60 to 68, Lord Shiva is talking about relationship between the Lord and his material creation. So the Lord Shiva here glorifying the impersonal feature of the impersonal Brahman feature of the Lord. Now he is comparing that with the sunshine, is comparing then with the sky, which is spread over all universe. So Prabhupada explained here, like as sky and air is spread all over. So we can say like air is within the pot, and also we can say air is also touching a lot of filthy places and sanctify those places. But sky is still uncontaminated because sky is aloof of both the places, whether air is within the pot or air is in the filthy places. Similarly, sunshine is spread all over the place. Sunshine is spreading over in the diamond, and also it's spreading over to the urine, correct? And it evaporate all the urine. But in both the cases, sun is not impacted, correct? Sun is aloof here. Similarly, Lord is spread all over the place. Lord is spread in the atom to the all universe and in the living being. But but how Lord is spread over? Through his Brahman effulgence, through his Brahman feature. But Prabhupada also discuss about that how impersonalists cannot understand that this all cosmic manifestation is existing on the personal feature of the Lord personal form. So because Prabhupada said, because they have their limited realization, these impersonalists have their limited realization, they cannot understand that how such huge cosmic manifestation can rest on a person. So Lord Shiva is confirming here that impersonal Brahman is also coming from the Lord himself, which is spread over all the universe. So then Prabhupada has given, but this is a very long purport. I mean, I can only touch base the key verses. Prabhupada has given the example of, successful businessmen. We can read through this verse. This is one of the important verse. And then the similar explanation has given by the in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, where Lord Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sharvam, Jagad avaktya murtina. So Lord says, Maya, by me, tatam, pervaded. Sarvam, all, Jagat, all cosmic manifestation, Avyakta. Avyakta means unmanifest. Vyakta means manifest, Avyakta, unmanifest. Murtina. Murtina means form. So all cosmic manifestation, unmanifest form. So by me, so Lord saying, by me, by my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. So Lord is also saying the same thing. So conclusion is that without the bhakti yoga, without doing the devotional process, without believing in the Lord existence, even an impersonalist cannot understand that what is the Brahma Tattva, means Brahman feature. So that is near impossible for them to understand that. So text 61 to 62, text 61 talk about the Lord Maya Shakti, Maya Shakti, Lord and Jiva. So basically external energy, internal energy and marginal energy of the Lord. So now we know that Lord has created this material world. And so, but Lord is always in his Nitya Leela. Lord, the creation process, maintenance process, and destruction, annihilation process is happening through the Lord energy. Lord had designated different role for those maintenance and creation and annihilation. Like creation is done by the Lord Brahma, annihilation is done by Lord Shiva, and maintenance is done by the Shiradaksha Vishnu. But Lord is always, that Krishna is always completely independent and aloof, because Krishna is always engaged in his Vraj Leela, Nitya Leela in the Golok Vrindavan. He's enjoying his pastime there. So Prabhupada has mentioned there are two kind of world, spiritual world and material world, and two type of living entity. One is a Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. Nitya Mukta is a Lord personal associate who are enjoying the Lord pastime in the spiritual world, and Nitya Baddha is all the living entity in the material world which are entangled in the samsara cycle and taking a birth after birth. They are all conditioned soul and under the influence of the three modes of the material nature. Because why they are Nitya Baddha? Because from life eternity, they want to enjoy their own senses independent of Krishna. That's why they are always in distress and mystery, always distress and misery, and they are chewing the chew, like they are thinking like they are enjoying, relishing the nectar here, independent of Krishna, like example of camel who is trying to, chewing the thorns, and through his own blood is relishing the nectar. So that is the condition of the materialist conditioned soul here. Prabhupada has mentioned one beautiful poetry of a Vaishnava Kavi. So it's mentioned, Krishna Bahuli Sei Jiva Anandi Bahirmukha Ata Eva Maya Tare Deya Samsara Dukha. Ata eva Maya Tare Deya Samsara Dukha. So it says, when the living entity forgets the Supreme Lord and want to enjoy himself independently, and then that living entity, what he's doing, he's imitating the Supreme Lord, correct? And thinking himself to be the actual enjoyer. And because of that material energy, there are a lot of troubles come to this living entity. But the material energy is never troublesome, because material energy is not troublesome. This all material cosmic manifestation has been created to purify, because it is because Lord is our Supreme Father. He is giving us an opportunity. Like we might have seen, like mothers give a kitchen toy to the children so that they can also do the similar cooking. They can imitate the mother, and this child play these toys for a certain period of time, and then when they get bored, they know that this is imitation. Similarly, as we are the fallen conditioned soul, Lord has given us this material world for imitating that enjoyment, because that is our free will. That's why we come here in this material world. But now we are playing here maybe certain lifetime, unless we will realize our own identity, a servant of Krishna, until we will keep on doing the same thing. So Lord Shiva explained one thing, that material energy is never troublesome to the Supreme Lord, but because he is always independent. Material energy is always independent, but living and being under the false identity thinking that living being is independent, but living being is always under the influence of the Lord external energy, because Lord external energy is trying to cleanse, like, trying to take tough exam of that individual soul, independent soul, so that they can be cleansed and purified, and then they will send back to the Lord eternal adore. Text 62 talk about the Lord universal form. So it's talk about outcome of all Veda and Shastra is to serve the Lord's lotus feet by unflinching and unmotivated devotion. Here Prabhupada explained other form of Lord manifest, like Brahma, demigod. All these forms are basically worshipped by the materialistic person, but because of their not a complete knowledge, they are doing that. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10, it's mentioned, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udar dehi. So tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. So if person with a broader intelligence, if he desire for material things, or if he had transcendent all the material desire, or if he desire for a moksha kama, means desire for a liberation, but in all cases, he should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead with the great force of devotional service. Because from worshipping the Lord lotus feet, he can attain, because that's the ultimate goal of the life. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says, whatever man may sacrifice to the demigod or yagna to different demigod, everything, all these offering are for the Lord's. That is really meaning for Lord alone. All things, O son of Kunti, is meant for me alone. But it is offered to different demigod and different people without proper knowledge, without proper understanding. So only the devotee of the Lord understand that Lord Krishna is all pervading. Like Lord Krishna is in form of material, like, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And Lord is also in the form of material energy, Lord is present in all those 5 elements, and also in the spiritual energy as part of living entity. So Lord is present in material world and spiritual world at the same time. So conclusion is that the Lord is one, but he is expanded everywhere in the form of his different energy. He's all pervading, and he's cause of all causes. So Lord is present in the single atom and into the entire universe and in the living being, all the living beings. Text 63 also talk about that Lord Shiva confirmed that Lord Krishna, you are the supreme person, cause of all causes. So here Lord says, and the same in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna declared the same thing. So here, Prabhupada explained, talk about the Brahma Samhita, 5.1. Ishvara Param Krishna Satchidananda Vigra Anandaradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karana. So that Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes. So Prabhupada explained there is only a material word for those who want to imitate the Lord and become enjoyer. Indeed, the material word is nothing but forgetfulness of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of everything. So here Prabhupada also talk about Sarga and Visarga, how the material creation happened, and how the Visarga happen, basically, because when the material energy is agitated, the 3 quality, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance come. And as an act of result, when the creation will happen, like first false ego will come, then ether, then air, then fire, then water and earth will come. And then Visarga, then demigod, different demigod, and saintly person, the living being come. So that is what also Lord Shiva confirmed here. Material world, how material world is created in this verse. So in the text 64, talk about Lord Shiva further glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he says how Lord entered into this material creation in the 4 form. So 4 living entities, 4 kind of living entity born in this world, like one through embryo, and then another one through the eggs, and then perspiration is another form, and then the seeds, like plants, basically. But Supreme Lord is sitting in heart of every living entity, as we know the example of 2 birds in the same branch. So Supreme Lord as a Paramatma form is witnessing the activity of the individual living entity. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says, beside this inferior nature, O mighty Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind. So Lord is also saying that, which consists of all living entity who are struggling with the material nature and sustaining for the universe. So Lord is saying same thing. And then in the 15.15 also Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto, that I am seating is everyone's heart as a Paramatma form. And then from me the knowledge, forgetfulness and remembrance come. And then Prabhupada mentioned that this statement of Lord Shiva nullified the different contention of the materialistic scientist who thinks that there is no soul except the human being. That there is no soul. Only human being has soul, then other than there is no soul. But Lord is saying here, I am seated in everyone's heart. Lord is not discriminating that he is only sitting in the heart of the human being. So Lord is sitting in everyone's heart, even in the plant, in the ant, everyone's heart, Lord is sitting there as a Paramatma. So Prabhupada has explained further in the purport that this human society is just like a beehive. Just as a bee bite one and another and when trying to enjoy honey, similarly different humans are trying to, kill each other or trying to bite each other while trying to enjoy their hard-earned money, and they're trying to enjoy this material world. So basically conclusion is that Supreme Personality of Godhead and Jiva enter into this material world, and Paramatma, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is for worshipping, is worshipable, and he has he's worshipable, but he has arranged for the happiness of living entity in this material world, so that living entity, by getting that distress and suffering, because he will try to enjoy, and then he'll realize eventually that this is not my real happiness, this is not my real happiness, this is not my real place of enjoyment. And then that living entity will try to inquire what is to realize one own identity, and then entangled into the devotional service. So text 65 to 66, I'm running behind, but it's too many things to talk here. Sorry for that. Text 65 to 66 talk about the Kala Chakra, basically. So how time causes everything to be destroyed by something else. So jivo jivasya jivanam, correct? So one animal is eaten by another. Time scattered everything. As wind scattered the cloud in the sky. And time can suddenly strike a greedy person, like as a snake can, swallow a mouse, correct? Suddenly. So Krishna also says, Mrityu sarva harash chaham cha aham, I am all devouring death. So as per the law of nature, nothing is permanent in this material world. While materialist scientist is trying hard to create a life, trying hard to make this thing permanent, but they are so foolish, scientists, that they are trying to create the life in the laboratory and trying to deny the existence of the Lord. That's the unfortunate reality, that they are trying to create a life, but they are not denying the fact that Lord is there. Lord is the supreme cause of all causes. They are not understanding that. And they are so boastful. And we have a demon like that. Like Hiranyakashipu, story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. He was always denying the existence of the Lord, and he was trying to kill his 5-year-old boy. But boy has the unflinching faith. Prahlad Maharaj has unflinching faith in the God. And in the due course of time, Lord Narsinghdev came, and with his one feast, he killed Hiranyakashipu in the presence of his sons. So time is all devouring death. Everything is, even a large demon like Hiranyakashipu, whose one earring is just like a mountain. So you can imagine what to talk about these materialistic, boastful scientists, correct? So nothing is permanent in this life, but devotee of the Lord, never afraid of that, as we mentioned, because they know after this life, they will get another life where they can get engaged into the bhakti of the Lord. And then text 66 talk about planning of the living being, that all living being makes plan for their material enjoyment to fulfill their desire, lust under the 3 modes of material nature. But the law of nature, all their plan, because Supreme Lord has different plan for everyone. And all their plan, all living entity plan will be forcefully withdrawn by the planning of the Supreme Lord. Correct. So there is a one, but without taking the God consciousness, we are always trying to enjoy our senses and being confused and frustrated in this material life, and we'll do a lot of material attempt. There was, because of lack of time, there was a story I want to talk. Wise man, wise astrologer story. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was meeting to Sanatan Goswami, and then there is a poor man come to the, poor man come to the this wise astrologer, and then astrologer look at his horoscope, and then he say, why you are so unhappy? You should be so happy because your father has left a very hidden treasure for you, and which you are not aware of. But you should be happy because I will guide you where that treasure is. So he said, like, you should not search your southern part of your house, and then western part of your house and northern part of you only search the eastern part of your house. So basically the southern part is compared to the different fruitive activity, material green. And then northern side of the house is compared to the large serpent in the house, like, yogic mystic power. And then western direction is like philosophical speculation, witches, yaksha there. And then eastern part of a house, if you will search, you will get the, wealth, what your father, all the hidden treasure, what your father has hidden. Then the eastern part is compared with the pure love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Basically, it is a devotional path. So that is what, we need to follow the devotional service of the Lord. That's where we have the all hidden treasure of our Supreme Father, which is given in the eastern part. Like, it's just a parable story. It's an allegorical story through which the Sanatan Goswami was received the teaching, and he understood that. And then afterward, he left all his wealth and went to Vrindavan and dig deeper to get the life real pleasure. And then text 67, which is important, one of the another important purport to read. So here, Lord Shiva is saying, like, any learned person who know that unless he worship you, his entire life is spoiled. Basically, then how could he give up worshiping you? So Prabhupada is explaining, like, people know, like, worshipping you is the ultimate goal of the life. Then even though people are giving up your worship, how come that is possible? So Prabhupada is saying, what is a wise man? So Prabhupada is relating to the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Correct? So after many birth, correct? Then a wise man, actually become wise after many birth, and this, after many birth of self-realization, he surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such pure soul are very rare, very rare. First of all, human life of birth is very rare. And after birth, if one is chanting the holy name of the Lord, is then again very rare. And then out of those, chanting the pure name of the Lord is rarest among them. So Samatma Sadurlabha. So how that person, because people are so much condensed in this condition state of the life, that's why they are, due to the external energy of Lord, under the influence of three modes, they are not able to realize their own identity. Shri Rupa Goswami also says, one become an advanced devotee when one understands that he should be reserved and determined to be eagerly engaged in the service of the Lord. These are all coming from the purport of I'm just reading the purport of the Prabhupada in the, And then Prabhupada says, like, when Lord Brahma can do the, worship of the Lord, 14 Manus can follow the worshipping of the Lord. And that too, in Satyuga, how the lifespan is 10,000, 100,000 of years, correct? And in the Kali Yuga, lifespan is decreasing. Now from 100 years, now it's become 80 to 60 years, and further it will decrease. So why can't we, I'm talking to myself, cannot, serve the lotus feet of the Lord? Why can't we engage into the devotional service of the Lord? And Lord Chaitanya said, what should be the attitude of this devotional service? Like humble than the blade of grass, and tolerant than the tree. Tradapi sunichena, tarorapi sahisuna. One should chant and preach And one should chant and preach, and we should understand the urgency here to make this life perfect. One should engage in the devotional service of the Lord by following the footstep of our previous acharyas. And then the last verse 68 is talk about the summary, the conclusion of the Rudra Gita. When Lord Shiva is saying, Lord Krishna is the goal of the wise and death is the goal for the ignorant. So here, one important word, so I want to touch base what Prabhupada is mentioning. The word is Rudra Bhaya. Rudra Bhaya is very significant here. So we can tell because Lord Shiva is none other than Rudra, but himself, Lord Shiva is speaking fear of Rudra. Rudra Bhaya means fear of Rudra. This indicates because we have there are many Rudra, like there are 11 Rudra, and then Rudra, the Lord Shiva, who was offering this prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is different from the other Rudra. Although he is powerful as they are, the conclusion is that one Rudra is afraid of another Rudra because each and every one of them is engaged in the destruction of cosmic manifestations. But the devotee of the Lord, again, we are saying the same thing. The devotee of the Lord do not fear of annihilation of his body because he is confident. Because Lord Krishna has said, Kaunteya pratijaniti name bhaktya pranishyati. That, hey, my dear Arjuna, you may declare that my devotee never perish. So that's why devotees are so confident that after annihilation, they will either go back home, back to Godhead, or they will get another body to do the bhajan, to do the preaching, to do the kirtan, and engage his all senses in the devotional service of the Lord. So next section of this chapter, we'll hear like how to chant the Rudra Gita and then the Falashruti of the Rudra Gita. By the Falashruti, how one can get the benefit, and then hearing this Rudra Gita, what kind of benefit we can attain, and how can we perfect our life by hearing this Rudra Gita and implementing the instruction given by the Lord Shiva, the prayers of the Lord Shiva. If we can contemplate, meditate, how can we perfect our life? I would like to stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Himanshu Prabhuji.